All right, it is officially time to get started. So if you haven't already done so, I'll invite you to come down onto your mat and find your beginning position to relax in. I will be assuming Savasana if you'd like to join me. In Shavasana, we lay flat on our backs, extending those arms out, palms facing up to the ceiling. The legs can come as wide as the mat, opening at the hips, feeling those toes fall outwards. If Shavasana is not comfortable today, ensuring that we're finding that position that we can, in fact, be focused, be present without being distracted by any discomfort. Let's really find our focus today by making the intention to listen to our body. And as I guide us through poses and postures, lots of different series, today we'll be focusing on opening up our hips, maybe wringing out some tension through our backs and shoulders. I encourage everyone to really be mindful, be present in each pose we take, ensuring that we're finding the right option or the right modification for our body today. Now, as we continue to lay in Shavasana, I want us to notice our eyes, closing them if we're able to, relaxing the face, letting the shoulders just come down into the floor. We're taking deep belly breaths, engaging the diaphragm as we inhale through the nose, expanding the rib cage, and exhale through the nose, feeling the body just deflate into the mat beneath us, allowing a sense of serenity, peace, of relaxation to wash over us. Noticing at any time if we become distracted today, just accept it. Acknowledge that we've been distracted. Maybe asking ourselves why or what happened, and then bringing ourselves back to the present. Focus on our breathing, attend to the muscles. Now on our next inhale, go ahead and reach those arms long up overhead, taking that wonderful big stretch. Are the arms reaching long on the floor? Maybe they're reaching up towards the ceiling. Paying attention to those shoulders, maybe even the backs, the ribs. And releasing our arms down. Go ahead and gather our knees into our chest, giving ourselves a nice big hug as we hold on to the shins or the thighs, gently rocking side to side. Noticing what we're feeling through the hips or the lower backs, any knots, any tension, any pinching. Now keeping a hold of those legs, go ahead and just roll the ankles, releasing any tightness, any cricks or cracks from the joints, loosening up through the toes, the arches. We are going to single out our stretch, giving a little bit of time to each hip, taking both hands onto that right leg, extend the left leg down. If we're able to, let's press it firmly into the mat and just angle that right knee open and out towards our right shoulder. Firmly pressing that left leg allows us to activate along the front of the thigh up through the hip flexor. And by opening the knee out to the right, we may be getting just a bit of a stretch here along the inside of our right hip, noticing any sensation that we may be feeling along the groin. And angling the knee now towards that left shoulder, feeling a stretch up through the outside of our right hip. Coming back through the middle and releasing down to the ground. We'll repeat that now with the left leg as you inhale, drawing the knee in and opening the knee out to the side, pressing that right leg firmly into the mat when you're ready and able to do so. Crossing the knee over towards the right shoulder. Noticing how that feels. Are you taking a large movement or is it quite small today? There's no right or wrong. We're just investigating, exploring our body. Inhaling through the middle and exhale, release down. Taking the arms out to the side, we'll bring both knees 90-degree bend, feet flat on the floor, placing those feet roughly hips width distance apart. Activating our abdominal muscles and stabilizing across hips and shoulders with our alternating march. Ready? Inhale, lift the right knee up. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift the left knee. Exhale, lower. Inhale, right. Exhale, down. Inhale, left. Exhale. We can keep going with this, noticing how stable we are through the torso. If anybody needs more, rather than leaving our arms and heads down, we can take the hands to side of head and tuck the chin as we lift the head and shoulders up. Holding the abdominal crunch while we're working on isolating at the hips, that march. The next option will be to incorporate an oblique crunch. As we lift the right knee, we draw the left shoulder across the body. Still nice and slow. Watch your breathing. One more on each leg. And relax the head and arms down if they were lifted. Taking our glute bridges next, our feet are in nice and close to the body. Walk them in a little bit closer if we need to. Really roll the shoulders into the mat. This is your opportunity to open across the collar. Zipping up from tailbone, pubic bone region, all the way up through the collars. Go ahead and squeeze the glutes as we inhale, lift those hips high. And exhale, slowly release down, articulating the spine. Inhale, squeeze the glutes, lift the hips, opening up the front of our hips. Exhale, release. Control with strong abdominal muscles. Inhale, lifting the hips up. Exhale, slowly lowering. Two more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. And last time, inhale, lift up. So good to have this stabilized. Exhale, release. Taking our arms out to the side again, our last movement laying on our back like this will be windshield wipers. Feel free to keep your feet on the floor for more control, or join me in lifting them up 90 degrees. We take an inhale in the center. Now exhale, lowering the legs to the right, only as much as we can control today. Inhale, lift up, working within our range of motion. Exhaling to the left. Inhale, lift to the middle. Exhale to the right. Now, if anyone needs it, you can straighten the legs to add longer lever, a little bit more intensity. This requires a lot more control. At this time, we're in our warm-up. Likely, we don't need that yet, but always nice to have options. And we'll do one more, finishing that right, left side. Noticing anything going on through that midsection as we draw those knees in for one final hug. Feel free to rock and roll all the way up to sitting or over onto our sides. As we come into tabletop position, I'm just going to remove my warm-up layer here of sweater and socks. Feel free to grab a drink as we transition onto our hands and knees. I know that this can be an uncomfortable position for some people because we've now taken the wrists into that extended position, whereas we're in flexion all day. Allow your wrist to stretch open, but if you need to take modifications, remember you can do fist for wrist or add extra padding. Spinal balance, we extend that right arm directly front, thumb raised to the ceiling, reach that left leg back behind us, and lower down. Inhale, left arm forward, right leg back. Exhale, down. Inhale, right, trying to create a straight line from hand to foot. Exhale, lower. Inhale, left, keeping bellies in, backs flat. Exhale, down. One more each side. Inhale, right. Exhale. Inhale, left. Exhale, lower. From here, let's do our cats and our cows. Inhale, open the chest, look forward. Exhale, tuck that tailbone, draw the bellies in, round the back, tuck the chin. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. Inhale, open. Exhale, round. Really pull those bellies in. And one more time. Inhale, open. Exhale, round up nice and high. Push back into child's pose. Hips to heels. Extend those arms forward and drop the heads down. Maybe we're feeling a stretch through the shoulders, the backs, the hips, maybe even the knees or the ankles. Notice how low we're able to get. Preparing for that half flow series, we'll inhale forward into kneeling plank. Shoulders come right above wrists. Exhale, slow lower, only as far as we can control today. As we inhale, press straight up, flat backs into kneeling plank. Exhale, push back into child's pose. Not feeling like we're limited, just understanding our mobility. Inhaling forward, plank position. Exhale, lower into that hover position. Inhale, press straight up, keeping backs flat. Exhale, push back into child's pose. We'll do this 2 more times. Inhaling forward. Exhale, lower. Inhale, press up. Exhale, really using those tricep muscles. Last time in our series, inhaling forward. Exhale, strong through that upper body. Inhale, press straight up. And exhale, push back. Fantastic. From here, let's rise up into tabletop again. Helping the right foot get right in between our hands. Finding our runner's lunge. Stacking knee above ankle. You can stay down with your hands on the floor. If this bothers your knee, feel free to roll your mat up to add extra padding. Otherwise, if we're able to, I'll encourage us to reach those arms up nice and high. Drop the shoulders down. Find that posture. Engage your abdominal muscles. Pull in the bellies. Lift the stomach away from the front thigh as we open up that left hip. Maybe even just arching the upper back slightly as we look upwards, choosing to focus on a spot or close our eyes. One more big inhale here. Exhale, releasing the hands down. Now stay here with the arms. We're finding twisted lunge next. Take your left hand right beside your foot. My arm's a little bit short, so I like to take a fist. It gives me just that extra little bit of room as I open my right arm up towards the ceiling. Trying to really lift out of the arms, straight line. If it's too much for the top arm today, take the arm behind your back. Noticing you want to keep that right knee directly stacked on top of your ankle, not letting it wander out. It's going to help stretch open that right hip. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, release the hand down. Sweep that knee back behind us, pressing into child's pose. Let's take a couple big breaths. Inhaling forward through table. Take our time now sweeping the left foot up into runner's lunge. Knee above ankle, make sure you're happy with your foundation, and then we build from the foundation upwards. We can bring our hands up if we're happy with our balance, the position of the knee on the ground. Arms can raise high, shoulders depressed down our back, squeezing those shoulders together. Zip up through the torso, long through the neck. Just watch your toes. Are you gripping, or are you able to have nice long feet, long toes? Lifting up through the left arch as we're really opening up through the right thigh, up through that hip flexor. One more inhale. Exhale, release the hands down. Now as the right hand or fist is placed directly beside the foot, we lift out of that shoulder, twisting open over our left knee. The left hand can reach high to the ceiling or come down behind the back pocket. Again, let's just make sure that we've kept that knee right on top of the ankle. This is going to really help stretch open that left outside thigh, the hip, even that left shoulder if you're able to lift the arm. With our final inhale, exhale, release the hand down. Sweep that leg back behind and press into child's pose. Now I want us to try to get smaller, whatever that might look like on your body today. Find your position, see if we can get smaller, allowing those hips to really just let go. Preparing next for down dog. When you're ready, we press all 10 fingers, curl the toes, lift the hips, and find our downward facing dog position. Press away from those hands as we pull the tailbone high, straightening out the back, puffing the chest through the shoulders, and looking back at our feet. We can walk the dog, stretching through the calf muscles, massaging the fascia through the bottom of the feet, the toes. Notice what we're feeling up the back of the ankles, through the Achilles. Now from here, we'll press those heels down as far as we can get them. Knees can be as bent as they need to be, preparing for our next flow series. We'll inhale forward to plank. Feel free to take the knees down to the floor in kneeling plank. Exhale, slow lower. This is your chaturanga. Inhale, sweep up for cobra, whether it's baby or full. Exhale, press back into down dog. We'll do this 2 more times. Inhaling forward. Exhale, chaturanga, slow, controlled lower. Inhale, scooping up. Exhale, pressing back. And last time, inhale forward to plank. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, press back. Feels good to stretch open the front of the body. Walking our hands and feet together. We'll come halfway up to monkey. Back becomes parallel to the floor, just like we're creating a tabletop, pulling those shoulders together, soft through the knees. Hands are just resting comfortably against shins or thighs. Maybe feeling a stretch up the hamstrings. Let's transfer weight into our hips. Sitting down into chair pose. Keeping the weight pushing back through those heels. Arms can reach high or they can find heart center. Bellies are really strong. Really try to open up through the rib cage as we continue to maintain flat backs. Big inhale, lift up. And exhale, release down. Oh, amazing. We're holding Tadasana, at which point I'll encourage you to take a couple of breaths. If you need to, feel free to grab a quick drink of water. I'm just going to close my eyes. Acknowledge my heart rate, my breathing, the temperature of my body. Noticing the differences from when I began my practice today to right now, feeling warmed up, slightly aroused, feeling that quicker heart rate, that faster breathing. Preparing for our lateral extension. We'll inhale, lift both arms up above our head. And now exhale, just reach that right arm a little bit higher up towards the ceiling. Transfer the weight into your right foot primarily as we open down that entire right side of our body. Nice lateral extension here. We inhale, lift the left arm high. And now exhale, lowering that right hand down. We just shift the weight into that left hip. Reach that left arm a little bit higher. Opening up that side body. Inhale, lift up. Now exhale, release the arms. Preparing for a chair flow. I want us to double check our feet are just about hips width distance apart. We'll start by taking our arms all the way up above head. Inhale. Now exhale, sweep, sitting back through chair. We're going to do this a few times. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, sit. Inhale, lift. Exhale, sit. Inhale, lift up. Now this time as we sit, exhale, hold it. Changing our flow into a twisted chair flow. I want us to bring our hands into heart center. We take an inhale in the middle. Right elbow to left knee, exhale. Inhale, lift. Exhale, left elbow to right knee. Inhale, lift. Exhale, twist. Keep the weight in the heels, the knees level. Inhale. Exhale, twist. Keep your posture. Inhale. Exhale. We have one more. Inhale, up. Exhale, twist. Inhale through the middle. Sit down a little bit lower. Exhale. And inhale, sweep up. Exhale, release. Amazing. Go ahead and just wiggle out those feet, feeling the warmth through the body, a little bit of heat building through the body here. As we come into a couple of balance poses standing, we'll start by taking our right foot and just lifting the knee up. Maybe today this is as far as we get. I'll ask that you now scoop your hand underneath that right knee as we open the knee out towards the side. In this position, we can flex the foot, and if anyone would like to, you can grab your big toe. This is your big toe hold. The next option is to extend the arms and legs out. So holding the knee, holding the big toe, extending out. Continuing to lift tall. I just want us to breathe. Amazing balance, everyone. Just one last big breath in. Exhale, release, control that release, and go ahead and fidget. Noticing the spot that helped you find your balance, I want you to really pay attention to that. Rolling your shoulders, finding your position. Taking that left foot. Find your transfer of weight as we lift the knee up. Again, I'll encourage that we start by just scooping that hand under. Notice how I really lifted my hip. I'm not feeling heavy at all. Flex the foot. You can hold your big toe, the foot, or stick with the hand behind the knee. The next option is to open, holding that big toe hold. Now I'm holding mine up high. You can definitely hold yours down low, and you could keep your knee bent. Lots of options here as we continue working on that single leg balance. Find your balance, find your posture for one final big inhale. And exhale, control that lower down. Fidget, fidget, fidget. Encourage the blood flow. The fidgeting is to encourage blood flow and circulation. Now we've got eagle. Eagle causes a lot of tension. It's going to also cause a lot of relaxation. What we start with are the legs. Taking that right foot up again, bend the knee, just cross the knee over. Some of us are just gonna keep that foot on the floor like a kickstand. Others will be able to keep the leg lifted. Play with it, there's no judgment. Sitting down nice and low into your chair squat. We've already practiced our chair today, so see if we can do it either with your foot crossed over on the floor or lifted. Some of us will also be able to twist. Here, I've just twisted my foot back. From here, we go ahead and give ourselves a hug. Give yourself a hug. So I've got my right arm crossed on top with my right leg crossed over. If you're able to move beyond the hug, we take our back of hands together. And then you're able to cross your hands, twisting them, holding on palm to palm like you're shaking your own hands. At this point, we sit down a little bit lower and we try to lift our hands up just a little bit higher. This causes, again, a lot of restriction. Maybe feeling that isometric contraction is causing us a spike in our heart rate, maybe a little harder to breathe. See if we can sit down just a little bit longer. And take a big inhale, unwind. And exhale. Again, just fidget, fidget, fidget. Encourage that circulation. We've got to repeat it on the other side. Take those big deep breaths. Eagle is known to be very cleansing. Taking that big squeeze and then that big relax. Preparing for the next side, we lift that left toe. Lift the knee when you're ready, strong on your supporting right leg. Cross that knee over, maybe leaving it in kickstand or starting to sit in our chair pose. Finding out whether or not, again, you just need that big toe to touch the floor, very helpful. Crossing it around if you're able to. Both legs are very different, aren't they? Taking the left arm on top, give yourself a giant hug. Doesn't it feel good just to hug yourself in the middle of the day? And from here, we sit down a little bit lower. Try to keep your belly button facing forward. And then if you're able to, keeping elbow on elbow, hand to hand, maybe palm to palm. Lift that hand up, stretching through the shoulders, taking those hands right in front of the third eye. Sit just a little bit lower. We're almost there. One more big inhale. Exhale, unwind and fidget. Taking those feet out nice and wide. We're going to stretch that out with a standing straddle split. Soft knees, big inhale up. Exhale, reach. Oh my goodness, opening up those hamstrings. We can feel all of the muscles up the backside of the body as we pull the hands away from the floor. Lift the tailbone nice and high. Take a couple big breaths. If your hands aren't touching the floor, that's okay. Maybe you've got them holding either elbow today in ragdoll. Maybe they're touching your legs instead. Whatever feels good. Notice that we're really trying to open up the back of the hips, right down the legs. Softening those knees. We slowly walk the hands all the way up, rounding those shoulders down, heel toeing those legs together. Take your time as we gather our breath, possibly grabbing a drink of water, returning to the top edge of our mat. Shoulders down. And as I mentioned, we're finding our balance on 2 feet, standing tall in Tadasana, grounded through the big toe, little toe, inner outer edges of the heels. Finding that big inhale together, lifting the arms up above head. Exhale, swan dive, hinging from our hips all the way down into forward fold. Taking our time, stepping back onto our knees and pressing back into child's pose. From child's pose, we'll walk our hands over to the right edge of our mat, placing that left hand on top, pulling away from that left arm into the left hip, finding an amazing lateral extension, that side stretch in child's. At this point in class, I'll really encourage everyone just to try to close your eyes, internalizing our practice. Let's walk our hands through the middle, over towards the left edge of our mat, right hand on top, pull back into that right hip. Also notice your breathing. Find that your breath is evening out, maybe slowing down. Find that even 2-part breath. Walking through the middle. And then as we come up through table, we'll just sweep those legs around, finding ourselves sitting with the feet forward. We're going to do a couple of seated exercises here with our stretch. These are progressive, and I'll try to show as many options as possible. Really just following along as best as you can. And we will continue to grow through our poses. The first one we're going to do is dedicated to sage, Marichi number 1. This is a bound single leg pose, just like we did at the beginning of our mat when we hug one knee in. So when we were on our mat laying down, we're just drawing that right knee into the chest. So I'll ask that as we sit here nice and tall, that we're holding that right knee in. This could be done just sitting here, and this is where you'll stay. The next option is going to be to bring both shoulders to the inside of that knee, and you could just reach for your left foot. The third and final progression is going to be to take that right arm, bending at your elbow, taking the left hand behind. At this point, I'm going to turn to the side so you can see, and you can bind your hands together. If you were wearing a sweater or had a sock, you could also hold that to give your arms a little bit more length. Now, as we continue to squeeze this knee in nice and tight to the body, if you're able to round over, go ahead and tuck that chin, keeping your butt flat on the floor. I just want you to take a couple big breaths. Slowly coming up and out of that. That Marichi pose is really good for releasing hip and back tension. You may have felt it, and maybe it felt easy today or too restrictive. Taking the leg next, I want you to come into the Lord of the Fish pose. How we're going to do this is half Lord of the Fishes, crossing that right foot over the left leg. From here, we'll then take our left elbow into a seated spinal twist. Really nice and tall, left elbow connects to the right knee. We just look over that right shoulder. Now, if this is good for us, stay here. If anyone needs just a little bit more today, I'll ask that you bring your body forward, tuck that left foot in nice and close to your bum. You can leave this right leg here, or you can bring the knee right on top of your ankle. For those of you in the seated spinal twist, go ahead and take another break, and we're going to do this again together. We start by just crossing that left elbow over, making sure the shoulders are nice, sitting both sides of the bum on the floor. And if it's possible, we take heart center. We look over that right shoulder, and maybe we even hinge forward towards the front of the room slightly. You're going to start to feel an amazing stretch in that right hip. And when I say amazing, fight or flight may have kicked in for you. See if you can slow your breathing. Try to let that tight right external hip rotator release. Remember, in yoga, there's a little bit of a game of trying to allow your primary nervous system to be your parasympathetic nervous system. Rest and digest. That requires a lot of slow breathing and keeping those fight or flight response to a minimum. Take one last inhale here and exhale through the middle. And don't come out of this quite yet. We've got our knee on top of knee. Possibly, if that's okay with you, I'd ask that you stay here, because now we're coming into cow face pose. If you need to unwind, if you're feeling too tense, like it's too much for you today, go ahead and just sit normally. We're going to leave the legs here if it's an option. Otherwise, the focus is on our upper body, tricep stretch. So we take both arms up, and if your right elbow's on top, right knee is on top, we'll take the left elbow as the focus here and just guide the left elbow with your right hand. The next option would be to take the right hand behind the back, linking fingers together. Stay there while I demonstrate. And we're just holding this tricep stretch, binding it at the back if that's an option. Again, if you had a rope, a band, a sock, a towel, just to add a little bit of length, you could do that as well. Taking one final big inhale here. Exhale, release your arms. Oh, help those forelegs. Now, because we've been doing a lot of twists, there's a lot happening, a lot of squeezing, a lot of tension. Now we release it. I'll ask that we just take those legs out straight, open them out into that straddle split again, and we'll release through the inner thighs. Really simple forward fold. Hands to the inside. Go ahead and take a slow walk. Maybe it's a little walk, maybe it's a long walk. Trying to keep the heels on the ground, the toes up to the ceiling, the legs straight, the tailbone pressing down towards the ground, feeling a stretch through those inner thighs. One more inhale. Exhale, slowly taking the walk back home, shaking out those legs, bringing them straight out in front of you. And as we do this, if you need to take an extra breath or if you need to take an extra drink of water, please feel free to do so. We will be beginning the second series. So now we're on the left side. We start with our dedication to sage in our Marichi pose number 1. This is your left foot coming in, sitting up ever so tall. Now you can just hold on to your leg and give that a squeeze. This is the first level. This feels great. The next level, bringing both shoulders to the inside of your knee, trying to keep that hip down on the ground, and you can reach towards your foot, maybe even hold it. The third is to wrap that left arm around, and then that right hand can come back to hold onto hands, like you're shaking your hands. Keep your bum on the ground. Again, if you had a towel or a rope, you could use that in either hand if you needed just an extra little bit of reach. As we continue to squeeze that leg into the body, no matter which level or option we've chosen, let's see if we can just tuck the chin slightly, allowing the focus to come into our back. Maybe it's our neck, perhaps it's our shoulders, our hips, our back, side of the glute. 2 more breaths. And slowly coming up, unwinding that. Open up the diaphragm by expanding through the posture with ribs, preparing for our half Lord of the Fishes. This is that twist, lots of options. You could keep your foot on the inside or take the foot across to the other side of the knee, trying to keep bones on the floor, knee pointing up to the ceiling. As we sit up tall, we would take that right elbow pressed against the knee, leaving the collars open, the shoulders squeezing together, looking over that left shoulder. Staying here in twisted seated pose. Otherwise, crossing that right heel back towards the left thumb. We can stay sitting really tall on your sits bones like this. If it's an option, we then stack knee on top of knee. Really, really tall. twist through the midsection to start, taking that right elbow just across the knee as you turn. If it's available to you, because this side may be very different from the other side, you can bring that elbow up, possibly joining hands in heart center. The next option as we twist over that left shoulder is to hinge forward, keeping that right shoulder back. Try not to slouch the shoulder forward. A lot of tension coming through that left hip. Remember to breathe. Try not to give in to the sympathetic nervous system. We want happy, calm hormones released through the body right now, encouraging that relaxation response, allowing that left hip to recover. One more inhale. Exhale, slowly release the upper body as we rotate forward. If you need to take a break, allow your legs to separate. Otherwise, we have our third and final pose in this series. Staying in your cow face pose legs, whether it's one leg straight, one knee up, or both legs crossed like I have them showing now. Taking cow face pose, we're going to bring both arms up above our head. And now I've got my left knee in front, so I'll drop my opposite elbow. The right tricep will stretch. You can keep that left hand guiding or wrap it around, trying to connect through the fingers in the back, binding your arms. And in this bound cow face pose, we try to sit really tall, chin off the chest, crown held proudly on our head. Still noticing your legs if you were able to keep them here. If not, that's okay. Focus on sitting tall, focusing on opening up those shoulders. Again, these are intense positions. We'll have to drink lots of water, replenish our electrolytes, maybe have a really nice cup of herbal tea after. Take one more big inhale. Exhale, release the arms. Oh my goodness. Roll those shoulders as we carefully help those legs apart. Oh, very nice. Now from here, as we extend those legs straight, I want to release through the outer thighs, inner thighs again. Just shake the legs wide into your final straddle split. And we'll add our last lateral extension, our final side bend. Staying tall in straddle split, taking the right knuckles to the inside of the leg. Big inhale, opening that left arm up nice and high. Oh my goodness. One of my go-to stretches, keeping the hips flat, opening up through side body. If this is too much for the shoulder today, remember we keep the arm down instead. Breathe, everyone, just breathe. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, release, going the other way. Nice big reach. Remember, we never focus on bending sideways. We're good at slouching. We're good at that side bend. What we want to focus is on opening, lengthening, lifting that shoulder. Expansiveness. Inhale, lift up. And exhale, release. Helping those legs back into together as we find ourselves coming down to the mat for our final relaxation. Taking our sweater back on if we need it, socks, blanket if you've got it. As we lower ourselves onto our mat, just being aware of your surroundings, making sure you're in a comfortable, safe space. Our last and final posture before we meditate will be our final twist. Arms come out to the side. Inhale, lifting that right knee up whenever you're ready to do so. Exhale, lower to the left. Go ahead and look over that right arm as the shoulders press into the mat. We open across the chest, releasing down through the middle and in through the hip. Inhale, lifting the knee up. Exhale, releasing down. Inhale, lift that left knee. Exhale, lowering to the right. And we can look over that left arm if that helps. Inhale, lifting the knee up. And exhale, releasing the leg down. Choosing the position that we're going to finish our class in, whether it's butterfly, restorative knees, pressing the knees together with feet on the floor, or Savasana. As I'm demonstrating Savasana, translated into corpse pose, we can have our arms just loosely by our sides, our legs externally rotated with those feet falling outwards. Letting go of all muscle tension as we close our eyes, relaxing our eyelids, our jaw, feeling the shoulders let go, the tension release. And finally, there's no more requirement of keeping our abdominal muscles engaged. Noticing how it feels to let the abs go, feeling our bellies rise and fall with our breathing. And at this point, if we're able to stay for just another minute, we'll slow our breathing. Notice our heart rate slowing down. Maybe we're already feeling the effects, becoming calmer, maybe even cooler or colder. With all of those twists, just recognizing the tension, the stress that we created, and that amazing release that we awarded our body. Taking our final inhale, laying down. And on our exhale, release everything. Wiggling our fingers and toes whenever you're ready to do so. Maybe rolling ankles and wrists in little circles. If there's anything lingering that you feel you need to take a stretch, using this time to do so. We'll be slowly making our way up into our easy seated posture for our final goodbye. As we meet at the top of our mat, sitting tall, sitting proud, we'll say our final goodbye together, beginning with that inhale, reaching our arms tall up above head to prayer. Exhaling down through heart center. Namaste. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you enjoyed today's practice. I also hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you. And I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye, everybody.